remarkable partnership to help promote the Sustainable Development Goals and the Paris Agreement during 2015. In 2015, Pope Francis issued a wondrous encyclical, Laudato Si, Praise Be, which is a document explaining the nature of the environmental crisis in its moral, scientific, philosophical, and theological roots. And it can be read in all of those ways. It's a magnificent document. The science is not only spot on, but also based on the several meetings that took place at the Pontifical Academy of Sciences with some of the world's great climate scientists. And that helped to inform the encyclical. Well, just to tell you, in 2015, on September 25th, 2015, the General Assembly opened with the world leaders gathering to adopt the SDGs. And who spoke to the world leaders that moment? Pope Francis. And he called on them to find a common plan for our common home. And the SDGs were adopted by acclamation after Pope Francis addressed the world leaders. A few weeks afterwards, the Pope Francis was on the phone discussing with world leaders why it was so important for them to agree on a climate agreement. And so the Vatican was very much engaged diplomatically, very much engaged in helping world leaders understand the moral challenge that was found. Well, these two goals were adopted, and then came our project together, the project of this panel, which was to bring together world religious leaders under the inspiration of Laudato Si, and in the unique venue of the Pontifical Academy of Sciences and the Pontifical Academy of Social Sciences, which is housed at Casina Pia Quattro in the Vatican City. Casina Pia Quattro is the home, as it says, of Pius IV from 1560, a beautiful papal villa from the High Renaissance, which was given in the 20th century to the Pontifical Academy of Sciences and Social Sciences as the home for those remarkable institutions. And we gathered world leaders and philosophers and experts in sustainable development to identify the common ethical bases across the great religious and philosophical traditions that could help us to find the inspiration and the path to an ethics of sustainable development. And that's why we call this effort a 3-year round of meetings. So much fun, so inspirational, and so interesting because of the diversity of the participants as well as the wisdom of the participants. Why we call this ethics in action, because this is about ethics as an action orientation for sustainable development. Well, it was a thrilling project. I have to say, as one of the editors of this, it's not every day that you have the foreword of your book written by Pope Francis and His All Holiness Ecumenical Patriarch Bartholomew. So that is a life treat, without question. Let me just add in closing that that in the course of our work, Pope Francis issued a second encyclical that really is a partner of Laudato Si. And that encyclical is Fratelli Tutti, brothers and sisters all. And it is an encyclical, a pastoral guidance, a meditation on peaceful coexistence and encounter. It begins with St. Francis's visit in the battleground during the Crusades to the other camp, to the Sultan, to see whether peace can be reached in the wars that were waging. And it has as its parable the Good Samaritan, the idea that we must take care of each other across ethnic, racial, national lines, and that our survival depends on cooperation, indeed global cooperation. So I would say that this book is inspired by these two encyclicals, Laudato Si and Fratelli Tutti, and the great body of Catholic social teachings, which really date back 2,300 years, even before Christianity itself, to the teachings of the ancient Greeks, then to the gospel teachings, and especially the Sermon on the Mount, the Beatitudes, and then to the great synthesis of Thomas Aquinas, by the way, an academician, a professor at the University of Paris in the 12th century, who showed in a magnificent way how Aristotelian thought and Christian theology could be merged in his Summa Theologica. And next year is the 750th anniversary of St. Thomas Aquinas' death. But his teachings, his brilliance as one of the most important philosophers of history, informs the Church's social teachings, which are infused throughout Laudato Si and Fratelli Tutti. And so we're in a very intellectually and ethically profoundly rich environment. But as readers will see in the book, Hindu, Buddhist, indigenous, Jewish, and other traditions have a deep message for us for sustainable development and for peaceful coexistence. And it is that commonality that is the essence of this book and the essence of our project. So thanks to everybody for joining in tonight to have a look at the book, and I hope it excites you to have a read of the wonderful contributions in it. Back to you, Jesse.
Thanks so much, Jeff. Are you going to have to go off soon? If so, I'll ask you one follow-up question before you.
Yeah, maybe I will, because I apologize. It's 12:50 a.m. in Vienna right now.